Hi, I'm Trina.
Hi, Trina. I'm Melinda. How are
Nice
you,
to
darling?
meet you. Welcome,
Nice
welcome
to meet
to
you
Time and
too.
Tuesdays.
Yay.
Whee! That's usually how I start my Time and Tuesdays. This is my first class of the evening. I usually have it at noon
Oh,
Eastern
dear.
Standard. Where are you located?
I'm in New Zealand, so it's just
Yeah,
gone 12. It's gone just lunchtime now. So
oh, okay.
I got your message. I woke up at about 3 o'clock and I went, oh no, I hope I haven't missed it and I've got the wrong.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah,
But
I
no,
have to start putting ET or EST in front of everything now because you just don't know where people are located.
no, well, it's like it's really interesting. I am so conditioned to spelling in American now instead of the English way
Oh,
that
yes.
I have to remember when I'm doing anything for a New Zealand organization to actually stop and change it all. So, where are you
Right.
located?
I'm in Florida right now, but I grew up in
That's,
Denmark. Born and raised in
beautiful.
Denmark.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. How long have you
So
been in the States?
I've been in the US like over 20 years now. I came as an au pair.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
and got married and that whole thing, and then I got divorced and then I got remarried, and I'm still here. My kids are here and I'm here, and I go to visit Denmark usually once a year because all my family's still there,
Yeah,
so it's wonderful.
awesome.
I know a few people are not going to be able to join tonight. I was hoping that Andrea was going to be able to join. She's usually here. We're going to wait some time. Sometimes they're kind of finishing stuff up. And it's the first time that we're doing it in the evening. So
So you normally do it at 12:30.
12 o'clock, noon Eastern Standard. So that would be 7.5 hours ago, which would be probably very early for you.
Yeah. So that's about 5 a.m. Oh no, I got up for something. What did I do last
Okay.
week? Something that was 5 a.m. No,
Yeah.
it'd be 4 a.m. That's incorrect. Hold on.
Okay.
My
So I
dishes.
started this program about over a year ago. I started with my joint partner at that time, Louisa. We really wanted to create a program for particularly women that we have worked with, may have been our clients, or women that kind of don't necessarily need therapy or coaching, but really want a community of women who are on the journey and just wants to talk about those topics that we don't talk to everybody about. We talk about stillness and meditation, and have a really cool topic for today that I hope you're going to enjoy. So we came up with time ins. So time ins is really coming from the timeouts. The timeouts, which is, we're messing up and we got to go in the corner and we got to take ourselves out of the equation to do better and be better, right? And that's so shaming and that's so isolating. And I use it as a parent, as a
Hold on, but let's get real. It's not time out for the child, it's time out for the parents.
yes. So that's how I learned about it the first time. So then I did adult timeouts, right? So I started putting myself in timeout when I learned this thing, right? My kids were mortified. Mommy, we didn't mean it. Come back out. Right? I said, no, you didn't do anything. I'm just taking a break. I'm calming myself down. But timeouts just still didn't seem fitting until we renamed it to time ins. Time ins just seems more of a choice for us to check in real quick, see what's happening with us, give some love and compassion for ourselves, and then we can decide to proceed in our best interest for ourselves and others.
Yep.
Yes.
And
so that's kind of how Time In Tuesdays were born.
I love it. And it's also unraveling the conditioning of the timeout to balance it.
Right. So now it's more of a choice, right? So teaching our kids that, you can take a time in at any time. Sometimes we really need to kind of remove ourselves and it'd be longer time in, right? Sometimes we can do it in just one breath.
Yes.
Just kind of notice and what's happening. So this is kind of a 45-minute time and space for beautiful women like you.
But this is part of your membership, isn't it? Because
it is, yes, it is a membership thing that I run for my students and my clients. How did we get connected? Is it through Stacy or Eileen or?
No, I mentioned something at the end of Jana's
you're on Jana's masterclass.
Yeah, and you contacted me and said, let's connect, join my Facebook group, because there was two left. There was you and there. Yes. I was the one that mentioned at the end, I've got the 57-hour face-to-face program that I need to work out the process, how I adapt that online, because I've been delivering the program for 20 odd years, and now it's unraveling my thinking process, because when I wrote the book on it, I had to unravel thought I was delivering up the front when I'm not. I'm writing a book completely different. So now I have to get the process for the online space. So so interesting. The other lady who contacted me, I spent 2 hours chatting with her this morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So whether this is
what prompted you to connect with me out of curiosity?
Melinda, I literally drawing a blank right now. Okay. I only reach out to people that I know I have a synergy with, and I have the nudge and the intuition that I'm like, I need to contact them. So to be honest, I'm completely drawing a blank because I was on my own track at Jenna's, masterclass, and I didn't. I think I was at there.
I was the very last question. I didn't say anything until the very last question before we finished. And you must have, because you sent me a messenger message.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
you must have said something. I'm like, oh, she has, I who knows?
Essentially, the program I've delivered, it has the whole process of what we go through and disconnecting from our true self and the journey back to our true self. So that's what I essentially said on the.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So
and I'm always a believer that if someone connects with you and invites you and it feels right, follow it. And you never know what unfolds and what's meant to happen.
I am so with you. I'm glad you're here today. And I just got a text from Andrea saying that she's driving home right now. She travels a lot, so she misses some of these things. And there's a lot of like holidays and stuff, so it's
whoops, you're frozen.
But this all works for a reason, right? Because I love getting to know you, connect with you. It always works this way. And you know what? I have members coming in, and Trisha, you'll meet her at some point too. She's like, Trini, must have heard my thought this week. Like that's exactly what I've been looking at on Facebook and Instagram, these messages, like this topic was meant for me today. I hear these synchronicities all the time, and I love that. So a little bit about me. I am a therapist, licensed therapist, been that for a few decades, stepping into the relationship coaching space. I'm into mindfulness, theta healing, all kind of the holistic aspects of, getting somebody upgraded really from bottom up, right? Top down. I'm mother of 3 girls. I'm remarried, live in Florida. And I think my whole life, I just had a purpose of helping others and understanding what life is all about, understanding the journey to self-love, understanding what's the key to relationships, like this deep connection, which obviously took me to the journey of finding myself. And when I finally understood the power of ego and our higher self, and it's like, oh my gosh, why did nobody tell me about this? Why are we not teaching this in school?
because we
I
don't. Yeah, sorry,
go
you
ahead,
carry.
go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah, I just, I started to teaching it to everybody, and obviously my clients, and that just accelerated their growth so much more, because we're not just teaching theories and mental concepts, right? How to communicate better. No, we got to get to the root cause of it, right? We got to go much deeper. We got to change energies, right? We got to pull limiting beliefs. We got to go deeper. So I love what I do, and I love our Timing Tuesdays, because it's a space where we can celebrate these growth. We can recognize how different we are this week from the last week. We can mirror ourselves in other people, because it is more intense. And we learn something new each week. I learn from my group, and, I bring in a topic each week that we discuss, and that opens up for anything. So that's really what I'm all about, and what Timing Tuesday is all about.
Well, it's interesting the use of the word teach, because with regards to connecting to essentially the voice of your soul, which is what we're talking about, it's actually remembering rather than teaching. So it's like facilitating people back to remembering that connection, because they've become conditioned to not remember. They've become conditioned to suppress it.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's not, well, if we would teach it, if we were, I see it more as facilitating.
Yeah.
So you're supporting the person to journey through their process, and to reconnect to that memory and the answers that are already there, and helping them to make it easier to get there. And if it was in schools, we wouldn't actually need to do it in schools, because parents would already be doing it and staying true to themselves. So it would be at home. So, and the sad part is, because that's not happening, so much responsibility is loaded onto schools that shouldn't be loaded onto them, because firstly, that's not their role. And this is where I have not had children. So, and interesting, the lady I was talking to this morning, we were talking a little bit about the elections, because Kamala and Liz Cheney are both either side of my age. So, and we're the Pluto-Uranian babies that were born when Pluto and Uranus conjunct for the first time in 200 years. And it's that time, astrologically, where, I mean, you can see it in what they're doing. Put aside the politics, because the politics is not for me, because I'm a New Zealander, but I'm looking at the process of it. And Pluto-Uranus processes is about the rapid change, but bringing down the old way to install the right way. And so a lot of where was I going with that?
The reconnecting with the soul, right? That we remember our soul.
It's the remembering, because the connection is there.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yes.
the level of awareness we have around it. And I was talking to this lady this morning about how I remember when I viewed that voice and that energy as being my higher self, and it's not anymore, because I talked to her about it actually belongs within you, because your soul came here to be in a human body, not to be separate. So it's about giving the soul permission to be in the body and to communicate internally rather than externally. And so I find it really interesting that a lot of people do use the term higher self, because I know I don't feel a separation anymore, which is
and that's not, and then I don't view it that way either. It's interesting that you actually physically put it above ourselves, which I guess some people do. It's hard to say if we go higher or if we go deeper, because I kind of use those words at the same time. Like we want deep connections and deep relationships and deep meditations, but at the end of the day, we go higher in frequency, and we can connect with our soul more. So is it deep or is it high?
But is it either? Is it
either? Exactly.
But is it actually we're opening up to allow it to come through to the surface? So is it us going deeper, or is it us getting out of the way of it being fully within us? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. And
It's-
that's where the human language is really limited in so many aspects of really describing this notion, right? Because we all have a different process to it. And when we then describe it, it doesn't really justify.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. For me, I've worked for years for myself on when I'm communicating with people, what's the process I'm experiencing, rather than what's the dictionary word or what's the latest fad word. And yes, you still need to use some of that to make those connections. Like I was saying to the lady this morning, one of the words I never, it's like we were talking about the version of yourself. And when it came out, the whole process, be the best version of yourself, I was like, oh my goodness. To me, I went in and I feel that. And it's, I'm selecting which part of me I want to show. And that's not being your true self. So that's actually you putting up a persona and not being authentic. Now, authentic was another one I didn't like, but I am using it now because I've got clear on the distinction. To me, authentic is about honoring the truth of what you're thinking, feeling, physically going through, energetically going through, physiologically going through in this moment. And it doesn't mean you have to share it with others, but it's about you being authentic and acknowledging that truth now, because that's what gives you the ability to either change it, express it more, expand it, love it, nurture it, heal it, whatever it is. Whereas your true self is not your authentic self.
So what do you see the differences?
Your true self is your soul, the pure, whole, limitless being that is divine, that is connected, that is, and the soul doesn't associate with virtually any of the concepts of personal development. They're human concepts, because love is not even necessarily a word for the soul or a concept, because it's a human concept, because we experience lack of love. So we have to know what that connection to the soul energy of that is. To recognize it, we need to experience the lack of it for our human processes to be able to.
So you're really talking about true self is the energy of the soul that really can't be defined, or it's not really tangible, where the authentic self is a human experience of being aligned with your soul.
But it's being aligned with your soul, but also being aligned with the truth of what is happening for you as a human, as the human side of your being. And
I like that.
I see our process, because we're born as a soul in a human body. I mean, that's part of our purpose is having the human experience, because the soul in its form doesn't have a body, doesn't have words, doesn't have visuals, doesn't have a need to communicate verbally, because it's and it's not even telepathic, it's just connected. So it's that conscious knowing. And so the soul has come here to experience the beauty of the human body and all the processes that come with it. But what we do is we go through a process of wanting to connect back to our spiritual self. So we reject the human side instead of actually going, I disconnected from my soul, because the human experiences that we go through non-acceptance, because we haven't evolved enough yet to get a handle on this process. And, our journey, for those that agree to in this lifetime to go through it, is to actually journey back to our soul. And traditionally, in generations gone past, once people had achieved that, they didn't need to be here anymore. But we're now at a point where there's enough people who are aware enough that once we connect to our soul, it's now expressing the soul and the purity and that wholeness through the human processes, because that's the uniqueness of the human experience.
Yeah, no, I love that. Wow, you put this so well. I love this. This is exactly what this space is all about, Melinda. And isn't it just so beautiful? The two strangers on each side of the world, like totally speak the same language that is not even tangible across time and place. And it's just so beautiful. And it's just so full of love and acceptance and compassion. And I don't even know you yet. I don't even know you. So tell me a little more about you, Melinda. So you talked about, you know, Jana's masterclass and books and stuff, but what's your background? Give me a brief overview on who you are.
It's a brief one. My childhood offered contrast, lots of contrast. So I got to experience a farming environment, but also one of the wealthiest environments in mid-city. I got to experience a small town school going to the top, private school. I got to experience so many things, but a lot of violence, a lot of anger. And I never fitted anywhere. And I also consciously remember knowing and sensing and feeling and seeing, especially seeing spirit, but I didn't understand, so I shut that down because it scared me. When I was 18, I remember sitting and going, I am a product of my environment, and I'm going to find Melinda. And my mother, I chose well with my mother. She had studied Carl Jung, even though I read a page of Carl Jung. So this is going back to my teens, and I was like 20 times and I still didn't get it. Now it's like not a problem. But she exposed me to astrology at 16. She also joined ashram and meditated and did past life regression and all of that. And she exposed my brother and I to a degree, but it was sort of a bit tongue in cheek. I spent a bit of time living overseas, went through even more horrific experiences, and it led to I did go and stay on the ashram in India, so the affiliated one that was the head one, and I did become initiated, but my purpose of initiation wasn't because I don't see people as gurus. I see each of us are our own guru, but the guru of the ashram gave me a spiritual name that had relevance, and I was committing to myself because I still hadn't, even though I was committed to finding me, I still hadn't found that way, but I was following it, and I got harder and even more. I was destroying everything, and especially myself. And I have very strong energy, and power is a big part of my astrology chart. And so it's being used in different ways. Out of that, I then did the uni thing, except I have a Bachelor of Commerce, but I fell apart at 24 based on I only saw my father once from the age of 17 until he, he's passed now, but I only saw him once because he completely disowned me. And he sent a letter that just took the cap off everything, and I fell apart. And I remember going, I know I have something so precious. It's a jewel that's pure and strong and resilient and whole, which essentially it was my symbolism for my soul.
Yeah, soul calling. Yeah.
But no one can see or touch that in me because I can't. So I then went to get some help I lasted 3 months because I actually knew more than I naturally knew more than the woman, and she wasn't actually helping. She was a psychotherapist. It was lovely to have someone to talk to, but it was the academic concepts that didn't
Yes.
click.
Yeah.
So I made a commitment, I'll do it on my own. And so I studied me, and I knew I had the answers, and I just dove deep and kept exploring. And what I am exceptionally good at is human process and processing, and being able to pull apart process and dissect it and know, but not from an intellectual perspective. That's where I was heading, was the language we were talking about is I use words that describe the process rather than actually what they might dictionary-wise mean or the appropriate dictionary word. So in amongst that, I also got invited into the training world. And so I was dissatisfied with the training that I was delivering for a company. And I met, funny enough, a Scottish guy. We were working together, and I said, you know what? I'd just like to walk into a room and go, what's happening? I said, because a lot of the content is absolute bullshit, and people just want to have their process facilitated. So I started developing our own unique way of facilitating people. So I was developing my ability to design, to deliver training, creating our own facilitated approach while doing the personal development. So I did a lot of years of culture development in organizations and creating self-managed teams, delivering this next bit is, that's where in 2000 I sat down and spent 8 months and designed the I Make a Difference program, which is pulling the whole picture together of the journey from being born to disconnecting from your true self and back to your true self and what's involved. And so I got to deliver that within the prison system in New Zealand, which was huge, with murderers and pedophiles and rapists, both female and male. I got to deliver it and with CEOs through to shop floor workers. I got to deliver it with the general public, so we had public ones were delivered. I moved to Australia, and I then was invited to help design and deliver the personal development side of a huge pre-employment program for disengaged youth, long-term unemployed, people with work injuries, etc. And it was the most successful. We took 100 people over 20 weeks, and it was the most successful pre-employment program in the history of Australia at the time. And I was asked to license the program out to every network in the country, and I said no, because I'm the guardian of it, and I knew I was not to do that because it would lose the integrity and be diluted. And so I also used it as part of my.
Yeah.
So a lady who did my recruitment process took it and used it. She ended up in jail, not because I put her there, but because that's how I knew how protected it was.
Yeah.
So that all aside, we started dealing with mainly Aboriginals in Australia. So, but we're talking not urban, we're talking traditional.
Yeah.
And they're almost more traditional than a lot of the traditional Native American
Yes. Yes.
behind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was just such a gift. So I did it for 10 years in Australia, and then people got businesses were threatened by us, and it got too much, and so state and government funding's too hard. Quit the scene and came back to New Zealand. Wrote the book, which I needed to do for me, not necessarily for anyone else. And
what is your book called?
It's I Make a Difference. So
okay, yeah. I wrote it on my paper. I love that title. My whole body goes on fire. I was like, I got to get a copy of that one.
Yeah, well, I've got I Make a Difference and You Make a Difference, not books, but two brands. You Make a Difference focuses on the human potential, so the expression of your true self through the human processes. So it's working with unconditioning. So take, for example, our sensory processing styles: tactile, audio, auditory, visual, gustatory, etc., have been conditioned and shut down, and it's about being able to access all of it and unlock it again, so that you can then, when you're working with people, pick up on their processing style without having to consciously think about it, because what naturally happens is the processing of their energy, and you will then express and work with them in the way that they connect with, which is really powerful. Rather than, because I'm a strong auditory, so what naturally happens is if I'm with a visual, I naturally start getting visuals. Not because I go looking for it, but because of tuning in with the energy with the person.
Yes.
So where am I? I've been doing what Jana and Sophie said, the ascending model, and Jana's was like, that's it. I'm ready. I haven't delivered IMAD for a while. I'm ready for the big ticket now. And I've got 2 huge courses. I've got a self-worth one I've designed, but I haven't done the videos for. And I just need to work through, it's a lot. There's 12 modules, because I've taken self-worth and broken it down into 7 different elements. And then one of those elements has got 12